Today, we're going to look at solving equations graphically, algebraically, and numerically. First, we're going to look at graphically. If you want to solve an equation graphically, we're going to use a graphing calculator. You're going to put your equation into y equals and look for x-intercepts. What that means is your solution will be some number 0. So we're replacing y with 0, and we're trying to see what x is. So our first one will be this linear equation. So on your calculator, we are going to plug in y equals 3x minus 12. And what we're going to do right away is set our window to be a standard window. Typically our windows run from -10 to 10 and -10 to 10. Okay, when we hit graph, you'll see that we have a line in our window that we can in fact graph. This is a decent sized graph. There's not a lot of dead space. There's some over here, but that's not a real big deal. So what we know is that our x-axis is running horizontally, our y-axis is running vertically. The graph runs from somewhere down here to a point up here, and we have a straight line that connects it. Now, the solution we're looking for is right here. We want to find that solution where our graph is crossing the x-axis because our y value is 0 there. So what we're going to do is use a method on the calculator to find that. The steps are these. We're going to use what's called the calculate menu. So we go second trace. We're looking for 0, so go down to number 2 and hit enter. What your calculator asks you is, are you on the left side of your 0? Well, mine is telling me right now that I am at 0, -12. So I need to use my right arrow key to bring my cursor into view. My 0 is here, so I want to stay on the left side, and I hit enter. Then it asks me, are you on the right side? So I move to the right and set a boundary there. So I'm on the right side. You'll notice 2 arrows pop up. My 0 is somewhere between there. It asks me if I want to guess at my 0. I certainly don't want to do that, so I'm going to hit enter. My 0 then turns out to be 4. X is equal to 4 when y is 0. So we'll write our solution beneath that. Now, every single time that you have to solve graphically, I'm going to ask for 3 things. I'm going to ask for a picture of the graph, I'm going to ask for the solution, and I'm going to ask for the window size. So if we hit window, remember that our window was -10 to 10 and -10 to 10. So if I slide this out of the way, my window was -10 to 10 on the x-axis and -10 to 10 on the y-axis. Okay, so 3 pieces of information that I'm looking for. Now, let's make a list of what it was we did to find that. We did second trace. That brought up the calculate menu. We chose our 0. We stayed on the left side, we moved to the right side, and then we hit enter to bypass that guess. These are the steps to follow when you're trying to find zeros, when you're trying to find those intercepts. So let's move on to the quadratic. The quadratic has a power of 2, so we would expect up to 2 zeros on this graph. So let's plug our information into y equals. We have 2x squared minus 3x minus 2. Okay, let's set our window to be -10 to 10, -10 to 10. We're good there. And here is our graph. You can see that both of our zeros are on this graph. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to shrink it down so I can focus in a little better. I'm going to cut my graph off at -5 over here and +5 over here. So I'm going to adjust my x's to run from -5 to 5. It's just going to give me a better look. Okay, so this is a good window. Let's draw what our graph looks like. Okay, so sketching this, I know that I'm crossing somewhere here, I'm crossing a little over here, and it looks like my vertex is here. Okay, I'm going to run up to there and there. So I can draw the parabola as I see it in my window. Okay, my job is then to find the 2 solutions. Okay, we're going to have 2 solutions. So again, Same exact process that we went through here. We're going to do second trace, do 1 0, then we're going to do the other 0. Let's focus first on the 0 here. So second trace, we want to calculate the 0. My cursor is here. I need to be on the left side of my 0. Because the 0 is here, the left side happens to be above. So I'm going to use my left arrow until I'm on the left side of my 0. Hit enter. Move to the right side of your 0. You only have to be just past it. Then hit enter again. One of my zeros then turns out to be a negative 0.5. So x is a negative 0.5 when my y value is 0. Okay, let's do the next one. Second calculate or second trace, go down to 0. This time our 0 is way over here. We'll use the arrow key to get over there. And I have to stay on the left side, so I'm going to stop there, hit enter, and then I'll move past it on the right side and hit enter. Again, my 0 is between those two arrows. I'm not going to guess, so I hit enter, and I find this time that my 0 is at 2. X is 2 when y is 0. So we have the graph, we have the solutions. We still, however, need to put in that window. So when I look at the window, I was negative 5 to 5 and negative 10 to 10. So I had negative 5 to 5 for my x-axis and negative 10 to 10 on my y-axis. Okay, in the third example, we're going to use something called intersections instead of zeros. Okay, with an intersection, we're looking at two curves that are going to come together and intersect at one or more points. The big difference here is that you're going to take your equation and set up two different y equals equations. The first one is going to be the left side of the equation. Y equals the absolute value of 2x minus 1. The second is going to be the right side of the equation, y equals 10. So looking at this, we're going to enter both of these into y equals. So clear out what you have. Absolute value, if you don't remember where that is, it's under math. Then you come over to number, and then absolute value is the first function. We type in 2x minus 1 and close the absolute value with the parenthesis. On the next line, we have the equation y equals 10. So we enter 10. Now again, we're going to graph that. When you can see the absolute value curve come in, and then the y equals 10 is way at the top. What I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust this window. It's not even standard right now, but I don't need all this space at the bottom. So my y's are going to run from negative 5, and I'm going to take them up to about 15 because I need that line 10 back in my picture. Okay, I'm also going to adjust the x's back to negative 10 to 10. So this window, we're going to do quite a bit of adjusting. X's are going to be negative 10 to 10, and y's are going to be negative 5 and up to 15. Now you're going to see that our curve fits in here much better. We have two solutions. This time we were looking for an intersection because we broke our equation apart into two. So we need to find out where these two intersect and where these two curves intersect. So we start out the same way, second trace. So we're getting that calculate menu. But this time we want to know where they intersect. So we're going to choose option 5. When we do that, we have to see that we have different directions. This is saying, are you on your first curve? Well, let's move a little closer to our intersection, and we're following our absolute value curve. It's showing you that this is the absolute value equation. Get somewhat close, hit enter. The cursor automatically jumps to your second curve. Your second curve is up here. And it's saying, are you on the second curve? We are, so we hit enter. Do you want to make a guess? We don't want to make a guess. So we bypass the guess, hit enter, and we find that we have an x solution of negative 4.5 when y is equal to 10. We have another solution all the way over here that we have to find. So again, Second trace will bring up the calculate menu. We go down to intersection. We move our cursor over. We follow that first curve, that absolute value curve, and then get somewhat close to the point of intersection. Okay, I'm going to hit enter there because it jumped to my second curve. I don't want to guess, so I bypass it by hitting enter. We find this time that x turns out to be 5.5 and y is equal to 10. Okay, so we have to get our picture drawn. In drawing our picture here, our y-axis still looks like it's somewhat in the middle, but our x-axis this time is shrunk down. Our horizontal line is running across here, and then our vertex for this is actually a little off of the origin, and it looks like a V, like that. The last piece we need is our window. Our window this time for x's was -10 to 10, and our window this time for y's was -5 to 5, or 15. Okay, last thing I'd like to do is give you the directions we used for this process. We did second trace, but this time we did intersect. It asked us if we were on the first curve, the second curve, and then it let us guess. So what we needed to do then was to hit enter, enter, and enter.